Hello, welcome to Let's Face It and welcome to my main class in Let's Face It. In the welcomes video I already told you all about my process and how I work, and we are going to make one of my imperfect faces. First of all, I need to tell you that I live on a main street, so there will be in the background, you can hear some cars coming by. And I'm filming in a very dark environment, so I have special lamps and that causes a little bit of a shadow on my page. I'm sorry about that. I hope that it will all be okay. I think it will be okay. Okay guys, I hope you're ready for it. Kara's asked me if I could teach in my own style. I told you all about that in the video and how I work and what my process is. Most of the time I work intuitive, so today we are going to do that too. I did not prepare anything. I have no idea what kind of girl we are going to make, but we are going to make a imperfect face. So my normal process is that I start with my background, and today I would love to start drawing the girl. I do that because I think that drawing the girl my way is, how should I say that? Drawing the girl my way, I think that needs a little bit of attention. If you are not very skilled drawing girls, then a lot of busyness in the background can hold you back from drawing. And I just want to draw the girl first, and then we are going to add a little bit to the background. I'm going to use two different pencils, graphite pencils. I'm starting to sketch with a 2H. Don't start off with a 4B or a 2B, that's way too dark, and if you need to erase something it will be difficult. So I'm starting off with a 2H, and later on we can go over it with a 4B or a 2B. It isn't that important what kind of pencil. Let's get started. We are going to start. You need to decide. I'm working, by the way, on a 30 by 40 centimeters. I am not really sure how that is in inches. I will put that in the list, in your supply list. You need to decide if you want to work in landscape. Okay, my focus. If you work in landscape, or you need to decide if you want your page standing up. I'm going to work standing up, for I don't have any reason for that. It's just how I feel today. I'm going to work this way, and we are going to sketch a face. Of course, her neck, and I always, most of the time, do a little upper body, very simple, nothing special. So that's what we are going to do. Let me see. Of course, my page doesn't come on the whole on camera, but that's okay. I will move my page and it will be okay. I'm going to start with just drawing an oval very lightly, and the most important thing is that you don't leave your hand and your arm on your desk. Raise it up, put your pencil down, and just start to very light, making an oval. And it doesn't need to be perfect, just keep on going. If you do it this way, it won't, it's very difficult this way. And if you are raising up your hand and your arm, and just keep going. And then there is an oval. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. Then just, let me see. In my bonus class, I will teach you guys how I really draw, my girls, because I rarely use any guidelines. The only guideline I use for my imperfect faces is the guideline in the middle where the eyes come, and I just eyeball that. I really don't measure anything. If you are not comfortable with that, then by all means just take your ruler and you can measure. You can measure from the top to her chin, and then the middle would be somewhere here. Can you see I'm nervous? Okay, and then you could do it this way and make a line. So now we know this is the middle point, and this is the line where the eyes come. The eyes are always in the middle of the face, because your head, I see a lot of people make the mistake by making the eyes too high, but your eyes are really in the middle of the face. Then the next step is to go and look where the nose is. If you are feeling uncomfortable, you can measure this line, and this line by me is 10.5 centimeters, so that is 5 and just a little bit. And this would be the real middle, and you can make a line through her face. So now we have a cross. You see? The nose is always halfway this line. So if you would love to, if you like to, if you are unsure about doing it, eyeballing it, you can measure this. To me it is about 7 centimeters. So it's 3.5. And make a straight line here. Please, very light lines, don't push too hard on your pencil. And then somewhere in the middle, or between these two lines, there is her mouth. Let me see, that's 1.6. Normally I always eyeball this. I don't ever make any guidelines, with the exception of her eyes. So now this is what we have, and we can start filling in her features. I always start with her left eye, for no reason. I don't have a reason for that, but that's just my process. So now we are going to start to make her eye. Of course, there are a lot of different eyes. You can. It's really something personal. I always just make eyes like this, very a little bit on the large side, not always, but most of the times, like half a circle, and I immediately after that fill in her iris and a pupil. This is how I do that. Very sketchy, not even. We can change everything. Just like that. And then sometimes I do the under eyelid, and sometimes I don't. I always, most of the times I decide that if I'm starting to paint her, but at the very first, when I'm sketching, I rarely do this. Okay, let's fill in her eyes. My girls are always a little bit on the whimsy side, so not really realistic. A realistic eye would be an eye with, let me draw first an eye. Just start on the line with a half a circle, something like this. Something like this. And if you want to make a very realistic face, then you need to measure that eye. My eye is 2.5, and the width between two eyes is 2.5 centimeters. So you get an eye, the width of an eye, and an eye. But I don't do that, because my faces are most of the time a little bit on the whimsy side. I like to do it by hand, by eyeballing it, just the way I like it. So I just start and Of course, I'm trying to make them a little bit even. It's not that this eye is 2.5 centimeters and this eye is 1.5 centimeters. That is something I don't like. They need to be a little bit similar. Immediately I draw a iris, just by drawing a half a circle, not a whole circle, because the other, your eye is round. Here is the rest of the eye. It's under your eyelid, just like that. On the other side I do the same exact thing, just like that. And then I can see that this eye is a little bit smaller. But I'm not going to measure, I'm just making that eye a little bit bigger. It's just a sketch, everything is possible, we can erase. I love my eraser, could not live without it anymore. Okay, now we have 2 eyes and 2 irises. The next step I always do is make an upper eyelid. You can make a very large one, or you can make a small one. And there are even people that don't like them and they don't draw and paint them at all. I do it like this, just, I mean, if we are going to paint her, then everything is going to change anyway. Eyebrows. Sometimes I just make little stripes. I do it just by feeling. I don't know, it's hard to explain why I sometimes make strokes. Maybe I will do that if we are starting to paint, but for now in my sketch I most of the time make just little strokes, little lines, just like that. And now we have 2 eyes and 2 eyebrows. Then I'm going to fill in her pupils, and my pupils are never round. No, I don't like that. Let me zoom in a little bit and let you see how I make my pupils. This is how I make them. I do paint them also like this when we are starting to paint. And just, this is sort of the little highlight you see here. And I'm making just little stripe, little bit of, how do I say that? I'm making this black too, because there would be naturally a shadow from her upper eyelid, just like that, and you can see that immediately changes her eye. On the other side, of course, I do the same exact thing. So I'm starting like this, and then I'm filling in just a little bit with my graphite pencil, just like that. And then we have this. I often make little round thing in the corner because our eye is round, and that suggests that the eyes are round, like this. Okay, so now we have 2 eyes, 2 eyebrows, and we are going further to make her nose. Noses are by far the most difficult thing to learn. At least in my case that was the case. There are of course a whole lot of different noses. But if you never ever did draw a nose, or if you find it very difficult to make a nose, then maybe, of course I'm going deeper in it in my drawing class, my bonus class from Let's Face It. But for now, maybe I can help by just draw a circle and 2 little circles beside that, a little bit higher. Don't draw them like this, but really a little bit higher next to the circle. Then this is the nostril. Then we're going to erase the top of the 3 circles. And this is by far, I think, the most simple way to make a quick nose. So just erase the tops of the circles and then you have a nose. You can redefine that a little bit. And this is a nose. I mean, if you could make the, and then her mouth, and then you have a nose. I think that's by far the most simple way to make a nose. You could also make a nose like this, just by making a half a circle and just 2 little hookies, just like that. They look very similar. This is just by drawing by hand, and this is by making 3 little circles. So let's make her nose. I'm going to draw, my noses are always a little on the small side. I don't know why that is. If you want, normally in normal life, the nose most of the time, the nostril starts in the corner of the eye, but because I'm drawing really more on the whimsy side, I don't measure that. So I'm just eyeballing to make the tip of her nose, and that's too low. And 2 little circles on the side. And then we are going to erase the top of the 3 circles. Just like that. And of course we can redefine her nose a little bit. This is just a sketch. There could be happening a lot of things when we are starting to paint this girl. So here we have her nose. I need to do a little bit because this is not quite. I'm not used to make the noses like this. I think this is okay. Her nose is good. And then in these 2 corners, make 2 little black dots. Just like that. And this looks very much like a nose. Then we go down, and underneath your nose there is a little thingy. There's always a darkness under your nose. I'm always doing it like this for the moment. I'm going to make this darker when we are starting to paint her. And now we are going to make her mouth. And because I did make this line here, I don't like the mouth that low. I like the mouth really a little bit up, and I think that's okay. I don't need to follow this line. I'm just going to sketch the mouth by making a V. This V is from her upper eyelid, I'm sorry, from her upper lip. And another smaller V for the middle line of her mouth. And I'm always starting with the middle line. I don't know why, but that's just how I do it. And I'm making just 2 little lines here, and that's the middle line. And then I'm connecting those the upper lip with the middle line. Just like that. If you want if you want your girl to smile, bring up that line a little bit here. And then the lower lip, you can make it as large as you want, as big as you want, as small as you want. I often in my sketches do it like this. And now we have draw a face. Normally I don't draw her nose that low, but I think it's okay. It could be a challenge for me, but I like challenges. So now I'm going to erase all my guidelines. They distract me, so I'm going to erase them. it's not a problem if you can see anywhere a line, because we are going to paint her completely. I have a very fine eraser and like this. I really like this eraser. You can really erase little lines, little dots. Okay. The first thing we are going to do now is to shape her face, because the shape of her face is not quite good yet. That is what I do. I'm making a point in the middle of her face, and this was my point, and I'm just starting. I think this is for me the most difficult part of drawing a face, is to make the face even. My faces are most of the time a little bit pointy. I like that. And for the other side of her face, so this is very round for me, but that's okay. It just is what it is. And for the other side, I'm always turning around my page and just lightly sketching, because then I can always make adjustments and erase something. I'm looking about the distance from this eye. I'm going to do that here too. Think about, just eyeball it, don't measure anything. You can always make adjustments if you just draw really lightly. I'm turning it again a little bit. The height of your from your forehead is the same height between the eyes and the chin. So you could do it like this, or if you're unsure about that, you could use your ruler. I always eyeball that. I do it this way, and then I know that that it needs to be around here. Let me see. You see, I'm working really sketchy. I don't think that is a problem at all. Just really light, so you can make any suggestions that are needed. And here comes her hair anyway, so I'm going to erase some of the outer lines to make sure that I can see what the shape of her face looks like, and if I'm satisfied with that. I will provide you guys from a template from this girl. So I'm going to pause. When we are ready, I'm going to pause and make some pictures, so you have a template if you want to use a template instead of drawing the girl yourself. That's perfectly fine too. It's absolutely no problem at all. Okay, let me see. I can see in the camera that she looks okay. Of course it is not perfect, but my faces are never perfect. And that's the beauty of it. Okay, this is our girl. She's looking good. And I'm going quickly to make her neck and a little upper body. I always make very small necks. So I'm starting just right here, and I just want her to have a long neck. And that's just, I just decided that just right now, because I don't plan that. It's just something that comes up in me, and I think maybe I look at her personality or something like that. I don't know what that is, but I'm just doing it by feeling. A little bit of her shoulders. I don't know what we are going to do with her body, but we will see that later on in the video. Her shoulders, just like that. I need to draw a little bit neat because I need to make a template of it. I measured just the length of her shoulder, so I could make it something similar on this side. And if it is not perfect, then it's perfectly fine. I think that's just okay. This one is a little shorter. If you don't want that, then just erase it and make it a little bit longer. Just like that. Okay. Yes, she's beautiful. Of course, we need to draw some hair. We could do that now, but I think I'm going to do that in a later stage because I don't know what her hair is going to be yet. I think we are going to make, we are going to start with adding some color in the background, and so that there is not that whole white page. I don't hate white pages because it's perfectly fine, but I'm going to take some pictures of her, so you guys have a template, and you can cut her out, print her out on watercolor paper, and then glue her down on your page that you are working on. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. I'm going to make some pictures and I'm back in a minute. Okay guys, I'm back. We are going to apply some color into the backgrounds, and I have a little tip for you. Where I'm shooting my videos, it is a very dry environment, so because I have a wood heater, I don't know how you guys call that, a wood heater, but it is very dry, so my paints are drying really fast. I am having a little, it is something to clean, you know. I make that wet, and then I'm doing some paper towels over it, and so this is not wet, but it is a little bit wet. So I'm putting my paints on this plate, and we are going to have some fun with our backgrounds. We are going to start, at least I'm going to start with one of my favorite background stamps. This is a text stamp, and I'm just going to stamp a little bit in the background to get some interest. Just with a regular StazOn. It's a permanent inked. Let me see. Yes, it's a black one and it's permanent. So I'm going to add just a little interest so that there is already something in the background. I don't know if it's going to stay this way, or maybe the background gets a total one color. I have no idea. That's just part I liking about working intuitive, and to not overthink what my next steps are going to be. I'm not afraid to go over her face at all. I think that brings really interest and character in a face, so I'm going to stamp it all over. If you don't like that, you can do just a little bit, but I think it's okay because there are coming a lot of other layers too. So now that we have now that we do have this in the background, we can add some interest by using some stencils, and we are going to stencil some little things. Let me see, I did get some stencils out. Just background, this is a border stencil. I like to use just little parts of that, very cheap stencils with lovely patterns. A little flower something, flowers and little dots. So I'm going to take some of my favorite paints. Let me see which color I'm going to use. This is one of my favorite colors, and I'm going to use a ultramarine from Daler Rowney System 3. It's 1, 2, 3 is the number, and my beloved fluorescent pink number 538, also from Dorpsstraat System 3. I'm just going to put a little bit on my plate, just like that, and a little bit of the ultramarine too. And I'm having a makeup sponge. You can use a baby wipe, you can use whatever you have on hand. Maybe you have, excuse me, a blending tool. That's perfectly fine too. I love to work with just makeup sponges, and I'm going to start and just make a little interest in the background, just here and there. I don't overthink, just putting some color down, and just very lightly, not very heavy, very lightly. On this side I'm going to use the same stencil too. You see, it is just a little interest just for the background. Mix the colors and you get really awesome, awesome colors. Just like that. I'm taking another of my stencils, and I'm going, don't be afraid to go over her face a little bit. That would be, it gives just a lovely pattern in her face. We are going, of course, paint her face with my dry technique. I love to work dry in the face, but maybe then there will be something visible later on, and maybe that sounds a little bit strange, but it is really great to have that in the background of her face. I'm going to take just another color. I'm going to take cadmium orange from Dorpsstraat. The number is 619. Taking a little bit of that. And I'm going to make another pattern on this side, just here. And I'm laying my stencil a little bit over the edge of the paper, so that it isn't so, yeah, that's just, the look of that is really nice. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just a little bit in her shirt, in her body. I don't know how her body is going to look like when I'm finished, but it's okay. Just like that. Maybe something of the little dots, but I'm going to take a brush for that. Just little thingies. I have a flower stencil laying here, so I'm going to do just a few little flowers. I'm adding a new color. This is from the brand Amsterdam Turquoise Green. And I'm just laying it all on my palette, and because my palette is a little bit wet, it stays a little bit wet. That works. So if you are in a environment that is also very dry and very hot, maybe that's a good tip. There are special palettes for that, but for me this works perfectly fine. Just little flowers, so that the background is a little bit going. And it could be that it all disappeared later on, but that's okay. I think I put a little flower in her face, just because I can. And then a little bit outside her face too, just like that. Okay, I think this is enough for now, for the stenciling. I'm going to put them away a little bit. because I have really a lot laying around here on my desk. Is one thing I want to do. This is a homemade stamp from Little Dots. I like to add that in my background before I start shading her face. Just here and there, some little dots going over her and her neck and her little body. On the edges a little bit. Just randomly, without thinking, adding some stamps and little thingies. Be brave and go a little bit over her face. It is all very possible that this all disappears when we are going to shade everything and doing her background. I mean, sometimes I really love to add black in my art, and sometimes the whole background becomes black when I'm finished the girl, and we will see how it will go. I'm going to dry this layer because I think it needs to be completely dry before we start to shade her face. So I'm going to dry, and I need to pick up a little bit of tea because my throat is really dry. I'm going to do this with the heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, you can use a hair dryer, but it is perfectly fine to let it dry by air and pause the video. So I will be back in a minute. See you.